Hello and welcome to my channel. I'm Shelley, this is the Willow Tree Green, and I'm going to talk about the top that I'm wearing, which is the boxy top from Peppermint Magazine. It's also called the Harvest top, and I'll tell you all about it. So basically, I shared this fabric that I got from Sarah at Simple Life it was probably, I think it was the last vlog or the vlog before that, and I got a remnant from her. It was about 89 centimeters by 135 centimeters. I've got some notes down here, which is why I'm looking down, which is 35 inches by 53 inches. It cost me £5.50, so I got a top for £5.50, which is great, not counting the thread and my time, of course. And I've got my iPad down here as well with the photos that I'm going to be putting up here so that I can talk to them, because I thought I'd try and do a sort of almost like a sew along, or something, but I new vlogger here, don't know what I'm doing. So I laid the pattern pieces down on the available fabric, folding into the center so that the pieces, I had more room basically, so I had two folded edges, and then I placed my pattern pieces onto the fabric, excluding the bottom panel and the facings. I'm really not a fan of facings, they always try and flop out no matter what I do, so I didn't want the facings. And I managed to get the two yoke pieces, the top pieces, and the two panel pieces, and also the armbands out of that small piece of fabric. It was quite small actually. I didn't shorten anything. Normally I would shorten things because I'm 4'10", so shortening is normally what I do, but actually on this I tend to lengthen it because I don't like crop tops, I don't like short tops. So yes, and I started at 11:30 in the morning. Now I just wanted to say that because I'm going to sort of give a timeline as I go through, just to show you how quickly this came together, even with me stopping. I think I had lunch. I was stopping every so often to take photos, try and do a little video. I'm recording this on my phone for a change because I've got this this contraption which allows me to do that, so I actually got a little bit of footage of me sewing, which is really riveting, I'm sure. So anyway, after laying it all down and cutting it out, I then sewed the two top yoke pieces together and put it on over my head, because I wanted to make sure that because it's a woven fabric, there's no stretch. Well, there is a little bit of stretch with double gauze, but there's usually no stretch, and I wanted to make sure it fit over my head. So a photo here of me putting it on over my head and checking that. Next, I then bound the neckline using just some store-bought bias tape. So this is narrow bias tape. It's I did write down, it's 1/2 inch or 12 millimeters. So I just got this from our local Hobbycraft, and this is what it looks like on the inside. So it's just a nice neat finish, and I've got a photo of me doing that, and I even put a little photo of me under the sewing machine, because it's a very narrow bias, as you can see. And so I sewed it on this side first in the narrow channel, flipped it over, and then sewed it again on top of there. So just thought I'd say that. And I also added in a woven label from Sarah Hearts. So it's just a pack of really fun little space theme labels. I think I got that at the Stitch Festival. And then again, tried it on over my head again. Realised it was a bit wide, so I'm wondering if I stretched it actually at some point, but it's okay. I mean, my bra straps are there and I have put them a little bit further over, so it's not ideal, but they're okay. I think I then tried to get a little bit of me stitching the front to the back after so basically the front panels, you stitch them to the top front of each yokes, and there's a little tiny gather. You can't see it because I've ironed it, but there's a little tiny gather at the front of this one. And then I did the overlocking, and I've got my fancy rainbow overlocker thread. It is not ideal actually, it's quite a thick thread. I don't think it's the correct version, which is why I'm not linking it anywhere, because I recommend you look for your own rainbow overlocker thread. This feels thick, it's almost embroidery thickness, So I don't really recommend it, but it is fun. I then sewed the armbands, these parts, together using my overlocker so that they were a complete circle. And at this point I realised I'd made a mistake. So next picture I'm putting up here, I had to, so what I did is I put it around my arm, decided what the width was I wanted, and I actually cut about an inch off here, and rather than try and unpick what I had done. So I cut it off, and then I put it on correctly, which is you're supposed to do it in the flat, matching, you sort of half the armband and then match the middle of that to the shoulder seam, and then you sew it along the flat. So a lot like bias binding, you then turn it over and you encase all of the raw edges on the inside, and then you can top stitch. And it's not the neatest, but honestly it's for me, I don't mind. Next, that you sew the again, I'm pointing here because I'm going to put pictures in. I'm looking down there at the pictures on my iPad. Never filmed on my phone before, so I'm trying to look at the little green dot that's over there, which I'm hoping means I'm looking at you, because I can see myself in the periphery of my own vision. So anyway, I sewed the side seams, leaving a gap at the bottom so that I could create a curved hem, because I had, like I said, I'd lengthened the centre panels about an inch, and I'd also curved the edges so that I could have a, curved edge. Then I had a malfunction of my overlocker, which it happens. I was in the middle of doing this seam. I had got to the bottom of the armhole there, and it decided to have a moment. So I took a photo and I was like, great. So this is about 1:30. This happened. And then I've put another photo up so you can see what had happened. And this happens to me quite regularly. It's like magic. I don't know how it does it. The thread doesn't break, but it somehow jumps out of the needle hole on the overlocker and becomes unattached. I don't know how it happens. It's really odd. My overlocker clearly needs a clean. There's a lot of fluff in that photo, but I was actually quite relieved that it meant that I didn't have to do anything to the inside of my machine, because it's not hard, it's complicated, which could be the same thing. But anyway, I didn't have to do anything, and then yay, it started working again. So I just tested that it was working. Then the problem that I had was where it had broken on the finishing off the bottom of the armhole. I didn't have a long enough tail to then weave that back into, hopefully you all know that when you do an overlocker thread and you get the little tail left, you then weave that back into the stitches so that it doesn't come unraveled. And I didn't have enough to sort of put it in my needle and then feed it through. So I put my needle in backwards so that the hole was facing this end inside the stitches. I've got a picture, it hopefully makes more sense than what I'm describing. Put the thread in it and then pulled it through. And I took a little video of that as well, just to sort of demonstrate. So that's here. And basically, so you can then pull it back in to the stitches, and it encases all of those and they don't come loose, and it's quite tight. So, and it's neat at the bottom of the armhole. So that's a tip in case it happens to you, if you don't know that already. And then I'm trying it on. I'm just looking at myself in my phone just to see if I like it. I realised the neckline's a bit big, and I'm like, okay. And then I'm sort of deciding, do I want to make it shorter? Do I want to do anything with the hem? And then I just decide just to turn it over. So I've overlocked the edge, which was tricky around the corner, around the sort of the curvy parts. But I just literally flipped it over, took a little video of myself doing it because I was like, oh, I'm so cool. But so basically I just turned it over a little bit and sewed it over. So this is the curvy edge, excuse my belly, and this is the turned over. So that was the bit that was tricky to do with the overlocker, but I think it was worth it. Oh, there's the ironing marks. Ironing double gauze is never a good idea. So pressing seams, I didn't bother pressing any seams as I was sewing it, but at the end it just needs a little bit of a press, especially around the neckline and the arms. And I think once it gets washed, it'll puff up again and it'll have its lovely texture. But at the moment it's feeling a little bit flat. So I'm sure that'll work out. So I'm just looking down again to see what photos it is I'm including. And then so roughly 2 o'clock, it was 1:54 I think was the exact time. Well, I know it's the exact time, it's written right there. I finished. So there it is, finished. So 2 hours, 11:30 to what, 2, 11:30, 12:30. I don't know, I can't do maths. Whatever that is, it's not bad considering I definitely took a break and had something for lunch. And I think I just grabbed a packet of crisps or something. And I definitely was wandering around taking photos of fabric that I'm thinking about making into something else. And I obviously had the malfunction with my overlocker. And so it's not bad. It was a very quick sew. And it was free. Now I think it's a pay as you can sort of kind of scenario on Peppermint Magazine. And I have made so many versions. So next is the runway of the various versions. I did a little reel. I have fun playing with Instagram last night, trying to figure out how to do one of those change reels. So I've put one of those in. And yeah, it was good fun, actually. It's tough. And by the end of it, I think you can see my hair is all over the shop because obviously I was trying, you've got to have Instagram open. I'll link a video actually because I looked up how to do this and I didn't realise that Instagram had this functionality to allow you to align yourself up. It was really cool. So I'll link a video that I found of how to do those type of reels because it was fun. So yeah, so I've put that up and hopefully you've seen it. If not, my Instagram is linked in my channel info. And yeah, so that's that. I'm going to go through some of my makes that I've previously done now. So here they are. Ooh, hopefully it doesn't wobble that. So the first one that I made, and this is a brilliant colour blocking pattern because of the various pieces. You've got the two yoke, so the back yoke is actually in 2 pieces normally because it's supposed to have a button packet down the center, but I never do that because for one, that I was always scared of doing buttons. I'm not so much anymore, but when I first started I was terrified of buttons. And it fits over your head, so you don't need to, and 2, it just seemed unnecessary. So this is the first one I made. It sadly does not fit me anymore. It is just, yeah, I'm obviously wider than I was when I made it, but I had this very, very small remnant of this Joni material from Fabric Godmother that I just love. It's like a viscose crepe, and I needed to turn it into something, and I am a big fan of colour blocking. I love putting things together like that. So, and I had this double gauze, which I think I made a failed project in, so that's somewhere in this house, but ready to be made into something else, but I think I threw it away in disgust. I didn't throw it away, it's in my scrap somewhere. And I love the colour. I love the colour of this double gauze. And I thought, why not? Let's try it with the Peppermint Magazine. So again, I don't like facing, so I just turned over the double gauze. Don't recommend that. It's very thick and spongy, so it was quite hard to do that. And I just paired it with this, and I really love this. But it is the bottom band is so it fully encases all of the raw edges, which is great. But sadly it doesn't fit over my hips anymore, but it still fits sort of from there upwards, so I could wear it with a skirt or something like that. So that's the first one. Then my oldest son, gave me some scraps. Basically, it was a pair of old trousers that they had in this fabric here, which it feels like a viscose. So he had these like funky big trousers, and a friend of his had a skirt. She's tiny, like really tiny, so there was hardly any fabric in this. She has such a small waist, it looked like a child's skirt, but it was this lovely velvety sort of cord. It's got sort of lines on it. Anyway, I didn't have a lot of it, and my son's trousers, he gave them to me because they had holes in all of the usual places in the thighs and stuff. So I decided to pair them together because I just felt like the colours really went nicely. I absolutely love this. I just really do. Again, I'm matching. This is very heavy actually, so I've again got the doubled over, but I think because it was so heavy I've ended up just overlocking the edge rather than trying to turn it and whatever, because it is thick. And this is thin and floaty. So the two fabrics themselves probably shouldn't go together. But oh, I love this, really love this. I just love the colours. And I'm not a pink person normally, so yes, there's that one. Then I had another remnant, because I'm cheap. That's why I like free patterns. This is a remnant of, I'm trying to remember the name. It's one of those expensive double gauze that's double-sided. I can't remember the name, but I know it's expensive. So I got a remnant. So again, it's about the same size probably as the one that I'm wearing. Yes, it is. It's the same length practically. So, but I wanted to play with the two sides of the double gauze. And so I've basically made the yoke in one side and the bottom and the armholes in the other. And I love it, but I was a bit disappointed with this one. I decided not to fold over the armhole and just instead to bias bind the edges. And I haven't really worn it much, but then again, I don't know, I probably would. It's very dark, it's a lot darker, and it feels, I don't know, it feels wintry, so I haven't really worn it. But still, it was a great way to get rid of or use the remnant that I bought. Next is probably one of my most favourite. I turned it into a dress. So basically I made sure it fit over my hips. I usually make things too big anyway. My husband's always telling me off for doing this, but I measured over my hips to make sure it went over. I had some of this window pane voile. So this is, I think I mentioned that I like this, and I've made a pair of trousers and a dress. I had loads of this, I love it. This is again from Sarah at Simple Life. She doesn't have it anymore, sadly, otherwise I'd buy more. So after making the dress and the pair of trousers out of what I had a bit left. And I also had this, which is, I think, a Lady McElroy. It feels like a cotton. So this is a voile that's very soft, this is a cotton. And I had a kit to make the broyer shirt from Deer and Doe. I had a massive malfunction with that. It was one of my button problems. So anyway, I had the bit left because I decided to make mine sleeveless. So I paired these two together in a dress. And I love it. It is very much a box, but what I did was I added some little ties so I can tie it up. It's not the right shape to do it. It kind of, it's not perfect. But again, the idea is that I wanted to make unique stuff for me to wear, and I love this. I really do. It is, again, two different fabric types together. It seems to be a theme. Speaking of two different fabrics, so this is the next one. This is the last one I've made, actually. So Minerva do this scrap bag thing where you can buy like a kilo, I think, of scraps for, and they were doing a deal recently where it was quite cheap. It was almost, I think it was £1 for a kilo of scraps. And sometimes you get really narrow strips, sometimes you get those pieces that got the circles cut out. You don't always get something usable, but this one particular one, I had some larger pieces of fabric, but just not quite large enough for anything. So I had this piece of, I don't know what it is, it feels like polyester crepe. It's hard to describe. It's heavy and it's got a texture. I don't know if you could see the texture. But I quite like it's green, so I quite like it. And then I also had this, where you can see how see-through that is. It's very see-through, and it's got a texture. And me being the random person I am, I saw the red dots in the flowers, and I saw the colour of this, and I thought, they go together. They definitely go together. So I put them together. So again, I didn't do the bottom band. I did the top part, as you can see, and then I made this into a skirt, and I split the edges, so it's like a tunic. And I have worn it out, actually. I've got this sort of screen thing that I can wear off the top of it. I'm really not describing it, and I don't mind it. I think it is a bit, it's probably you love it or you hate it. They're definitely contrasting, but I just thought the red flowers and the red, I don't know, am I wrong? So it's a bit, I'm undecided, but I have worn it and it is very comfy. even though it's some kind of weird polyester thing. And again, I folded over the edges, but it is very thick. So this time I sort of left it as a band, which I think if I had done here, if I'd used the bias as a band, it would fit my neck a little bit better than it does. It's quite wide. So if I do that, it goes off my shoulder. Be great for pajama top, definitely. So yeah, so that was another version, and I have hopefully already put in the little reel. If I haven't, I shall put it in here. And it was fun to do. What I would say is I recently discovered how to screen record on my phone as well, which was fun. So I'll put it up here. So again, I did a little search on Instagram for the Peppermint Boxy top. There aren't very many entries, but one thing that sticks out is the Dahlia Society. I think she was the reason why I got this. I saw a post that she had done on, or there's a video I think, and she had showed two gorgeous versions, which will come up in the list, of colour blocking this particular top, and I just love them. So I think she put me onto it, and then obviously in Pinterest as well, doing a search for the same thing, you can actually see the pattern pieces, because I don't have the pattern. I did it off the internet, so I've downloaded them and printed them on some paper, and I'm using one of the the envelopes that Sarah sent me. And so yeah, so I have them in paper. So yeah, basically that was it. I'm showing hopefully a little scroll of the Pinterest and Instagram searches that I did. Hope that was interesting. I hope it makes sense, and I'll see you again next time. Please like and subscribe if you've enjoyed my content. My numbers are ticking up slowly, so it's really fun to see, and I love talking to you all as well. So if you want to leave me a comment or chat about anything, then please do. So thanks for watching, and see you soon. Bye.